Hare Krishna. Welcome to my Radha Mother channel. This is Sindhu here. I'm happy to be associating with you all. Due to some network issues and everything, couldn't continue. Immediately took some few days to get back to you all to my channel. Hare Krishna, Sindhu here. I've come up with a beautiful Krishna Katha. Though it is a short, it's a very, very, very deep, moral, very inspirational story. The title of the story is None of Us Truly Wins Until We All Win. We will see what the story is about. It's basically about a farmer who's growing his corns. You must have all seen corns, right? American sweet corns. We are just going to see about it. Before that, let me start with a small prayer and introduction, and let's proceed to the story. Nama Om Vishnupadaya Krishna Prishtaya Bhutale Srimate Bhakti Vedanta Swami Namine Namaste Saraswati Deve Gauravani Pracharine Nirvisesha Shunyavadi Pascharya Deshatarine. Hare Krishna. Call it a power of collectivity, call it a principle of success, call it a law of life. The fact is, none of us truly wins until we all win. Those days, we often heard people saying, right, when you are in a group, when you work as a team, we all win. But in isolation, when you were trying to do separately, you don't get that much of success when you do it as a team, right? You say that there's so many proverbs on this. Many hands make work lighter and all they say. So we have seen this, from our olden times itself. That the winning is only when all of us win together, right? That is only called the real winning. So some quick facts about the corns, right? I was talking about. This corn is America's. Did you know this? Number one field crop. Some interesting facts about corn, like an ear of corn averages 800 kernels in 16 rows. A pound of corn consists of approximately 1300 kernels. 100 bushels of corn produces approximately 72,80,000 kernels. In US, the corn production measures more than 2 times that of any other crop. That the famous is this corns there. Of course, now India is also becoming very good in corns production. They say the eggs, glass of milk, the hamburgers were all produced with these US corns. So it's a major component in many of the food items like cereals, peanut butter. Everywhere in all these items, there will be little traces of corns. They are saying snacks, food items, and soft drinks. So you can just keep talking about this, its production, its geography, and its exporting, everything. But then the focus will be, less on the story. So let's go to the story quickly and understand that, as I told you, that success happens not in isolation, but it's participative and it's a collective process. And how the farmer gave in the story like superb insights into the connectedness of life. Beautifully has brought this concept. That is the highlight of the story. Though it is a very small story, the highlight there is that insight into that connectedness. That's why I really mainly wanted to pick this story for you all, my dear friends and devotees. So those who choose to be at harmony must help their people around also to be at peace. Only then we can choose to live well and must, help others to live well too. So we can also be at peace, right? So that's the main moral here. And let's get on to the story. There was a farmer who grew superior quality and award-winning corns. Right? It was the best, as you can see in the image, the fresh green crops. Right? Each year he entered his corn in the state fair, and where it won many prizes and honors. One year, a newspaper reporter interviewed him and learned something interesting, like about how he grew it actually. The interviewer questioned him. The reporter discovered that the farmer shared his seed corn with his neighbors. That was the major thing here. How can you afford to share your best seed corn with your neighbors when they are entering corn in competition with yours every year? The reporter asked. you know. Why, sir? Said the farmer. Didn't you know the wind picks up pollen from the ripening corn and swirls it from field to field? If my neighbors grow inferior, substandard, and poor quality corn, that cross pollination will steadily degrade the quality of my corns. If I am to grow only good corns, then I must help also my neighbor to grow good corns. See how logically he has put that statement. Right? This is a many people, we are not so intelligent to introspect about this. See, when they are fine, how much peace we are. Like, that's what he is telling. The interviewer asked him, what is the secret? He said, yes, if they also grow degraded corns, then it will affect my field. So we live in a world of competition. In their struggle of survival, people are not willing to share their knowledge with others, as they crave for their own name, fame, and wealth, etc., etc. But as the saying goes, man is not an island. I repeat, man is not an island. Krishna has made this creation in such a manner that all the living entities have to coexist and cooperate with each other for this smooth running or survival. Without understanding this truth, when we try to compete among ourselves, we will surely fail. If one of the wheels of a truck, for example, see a beautiful analogy given here. If one of the wheels of a truck chooses not to cooperate with other wheels, the truck, can it move smoothly? It cannot run smoothly, isn't it? So if one of the limbs of a body decides to go for tools down policy, the functionality of the whole body is affected. So the farmer gave a superb insight into the connectedness of life here, as I told you. His corn cannot improve unless his neighbor's corns also improves. So it is in that other dimensions. Those who choose to be at harmony must help their neighbors and colleagues to be at peace. Those who choose to live well must help others to live well. For the value of a life is measured by the life it touches. And those who choose to be happy must help others to find happiness, for the welfare of each is bound with the welfare of all. It is not mine. If I am winning, everyone is winning. If everyone is losing, I am also losing. That goes the same, isn't it? And those who choose to be happy must help others to find happiness, for the welfare each is bound. So if we to grow a good quality corns, we must help our neighbors also to grow the same good quality corns. Hare Krishna, Hari Bol. By the mercy of Guru and Krishna, we have got the gift of Krishna consciousness in this lifetime. Isn't it? Instead of just relishing this bliss, happiness alone, it becomes our utmost responsibility to share the same with all the living entities. Indeed, when we endeavor to preach the transcendental message to others, it goes with all the activities. Whether you're preaching, whether you're cooking, whether you're dancing, whether you're reading, it goes with all. Krishna says here, we not only help in their improvement of life, we not only improve their way of life, we ultimately purify our own self. Isn't it? Above all, Krishna is very pleased when we share his glories and message with others around us. In Bhagavad Gita, 18th chapter, 68th verse, let's see what Krishna says. Ya idam paramam guhyam madbhaktesh abhidhashyasi bhaktim mayi param kritva mam evaishyati ashamsayah. I repeat. Ya idam paramam guhyam madbhaktesh abhidashyati bhaktim mahi param kritva mam evaishyat ashamsayah. Word by word meaning, you can see some words. I can tell you. Abhidashyati explains. Bhakti means devotional. Mayi, me. Paramam, transcendental. Right? Asamshayah, without doubt. So the translation given here is, for one who explains the supreme secret to the devotees, pure devotional services guaranteed. And at the end, he will definitely come back to me, Krishna says. So it's a beautiful purport given here by Srila Prabhupada. Let's see what is it. Generally, it's advised that Bhagavad Gita be discussed among the devotees only. For those who are not devotees will understand neither Krishna nor the Bhagavad Gita. Those who do not accept Krishna as he and his Bhagavad Gita should not try to explain whimsically and become offenders. Bhagavad Gita should be explained to persons who are ready to accept Krishna as the Supreme Personality of Godhead. It's a subject matter for the devotees only and not for philosophical speculators. Anyone, however, who tries sincerely to present this Bhagavad Gita as it will advance in devotional activities and reach the pure devotional state of life. As a result of such pure devotion, he is sure to go back home, back to Godhead. So for the one who explains the supreme secret to the devotees, what Krishna says is a pure devotional service is guaranteed. Right? So there is no servant in this world more dear to me than he, nor he will ever be one more dear. There are so many living entities suffering in this world, ignorant of this transcendental knowledge of loving devotional service unto the Supreme Lord Krishna. By the mercy of Guru and Krishna, let us sincerely endeavor to share the same with as many as souls as we can, and thereby we can purify our existence and please Shri Krishna the Lord. Right? So I would like to conclude my story here by saying that always, surround yourself with successful people, great ideas, you get a lot of positive energy, and if you and the people around you grow, then the whole community, everywhere, there is a growth. Right? Don't be afraid to share your experiences and whatever knowledge you have gained. You will pleasantly be surprised how quickly people around you will be willing to also reach out to you in return and help you out in return. Right? Hare Krishna. I would like to conclude. Hope you enjoyed the story as much as I did. Catch you all with another motivational video. Until then, Vancha Kalpatarubhyascha Kripa Sindhu Bhayevacha Patitanam Pavanebhyo Vaishnavebhyo Namo Namaha. Srila Prabhupada ki Jai. Hare Krishna. Thank you. Thank you all.